But the Warriors actually went head to head with another one of my favorite movies of all time that is a much lesser known movie. Movie's called The Wanderers, as in the song, yeah, I'm a wanderer, yeah, I'm a wanderer, I'll roam around, round, round, round.
One of the reasons we had to have 3 cutting rooms going non-stop was that we were rushing to finish to beat the other gang movies that were coming out. The one that was really paralleling us was The Wanderers. They were shooting almost at the same time. It was based on a book like ours. It was a good story, totally different than our story. But, you know, you get put in the category of it's a gang movie. We wanted to be the first out, and we were.
If you have not seen The Wanderers, that is one I would highly suggest as well. It takes place in the 63, and it's about gangs from New York. So yeah, that movie was kind of released around the same time, but The Warriors overshadowed it. The Warriors was a more gritty, like the way it was filmed, the way it was directed is amazing. Every shot except for the end scene was shot at night, so that's one thing. So they're filming at night. They had to water down the streets to make it look more glistening. And when you watch this movie, they did an amazing job.
I told him that I thought it was a mistake, from my point of view, that this scene at the beginning of the film be a daytime scene. It just didn't seem to mesh. And he agreed.
It just fell right out of the movie. It didn't seem to fit in. Once you started the movie at night and got into that, it all just came together.
Even the wardrobe was great. I mean, the direction, the production, all of the above, in my opinion, get an A+.
Night photography in New York, the shooting of those scenes was even more difficult than the night photography.
Every gang had their own look, right? I already talked about the face paint. The Gramercy riffs looked like they were some niggas out of Star Wars or something. I don't know, like, yeah, they had an interesting look. I mentioned the guy with the roller skates. Every gang had the Turnbull ACs. They were like, I guess the best way to describe them would be skinheads. But that was a great depiction. I mean, it was obviously Hollywoodized. I don't think there were gangs of baseball players running around in the 1970s in the Bronx with face paint. I highly doubt that. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anybody down there, if you know of a real gang from New York City that was really wearing baseball jerseys and face paint and carrying baseball bats, let me know. But it was great for the movie. It was great for this movie.
We went on pure instinct and gut feelings on the movie. We just kept going forward, trying to make the story work, trying to make it visually exciting. And I think it was that kind of adrenaline that we had going and the momentum that we had going and the rush to finish that helped add to the energy that the movie had.
They stopped advertising for this movie. TV shows were talking about it. The news was talking about it. So once they started pulling advertisements and radio advertisements, the bigger advertisements came from your parents telling you, hey, you can't go see this movie. Or you're sitting at the table eating your cereal and on TV comes this newscast of there's this movie called The Warriors that's being banned from theaters all over the country. Then you heard, oh shoot, The Warriors, they're playing down the street. And they weren't. You back in the 70s, you walk up to the thing, they ain't checking your ID. Like they needed money. You got $2, you could see this movie, bro. I don't care if you're 14, 15, 16.
Are you aware of younger kids younger than 17 coming into the theater without parents?
When they're caught, they're thrown out. That's all.
But that has been happening.
No, not necessarily.
Because it was a rated R. So rated R meant only 18-year-olds, but nah, they were not regulating that whatsoever.
Hey Joe, how old are you?
I'm 14.
Did you buy your ticket?
Yeah.
Did they ask you how old you were?
No, they didn't ask me at all. You know, you just get the ticket and that's it. You go in.
But 200 theaters across the country added security to their movie theaters for this movie specifically. And I know we thought that was some new shit in Colors when Colors came out, right? Because in Colors, man, I mean, Colors changed the game. Like, damn, there was unfortunately so many bad incidents that happened at the screening of Colors.
Security at a number of movie theaters, all because of this film. Colors, starring Sean Penn and Robert Duvall as two Los Angeles cops up against murderous street gangs, gets high marks for realism, but authorities are worried that this looks too much like this, the scene of one of almost 400 gang-related murders in Los Angeles last year alone, and that the movie's depiction of tension and between gangs is so graphic it could incite more violence on the streets. One deputy sheriff warns if the movie is shown here, there will be dead bodies from one end of town to the other.
They had to pull Colors out of theaters as well.
The controversial movie Colors, a film that was released around the country this Friday. This movie has been dropped by several theaters in Los Angeles because of fears that it would incite violence among gang members in the audience.
My colleague, my mentor, my homeboy Alonzo, he has a good friend that went to the movie, got into it with the guy to see went to see the movie Colors, got into it with the guy there, ended up doing the unthinkable to the guy, and he just got out like a few years ago. Lonzo's told this story on our show before.
One of my dudes, another true story, when Colors came out, one of my roommates, I just bought this house where I'm at right now, and I lived in my old neighborhood, and one of my partners, he moved with me. He helped me move into the pad. He was also a roadie for the wrecking crew, called him Fat Fat. Fat Fat's a good-hearted dude, loved him some Lonzo, one of the best cats I've ever met. Dre knew him, and everybody knew him. He was our roadie, he would travel with us, but Fat Fat started dealing with, got into the gang life. And I told Fat Fat, hey man, you're doing too much, you can't stay with me doing this right here. Fat Fat messed around there with the Stockton, and he got into a situation with one of them Stockton boys, and he killed him. Well, the lawyer that they hired for him, he had called me to testify. I drove all the way to Alameda County and stayed overnight to go to court to testify for my partner. And I looked up, and they turned the lights off, and they played goddamn Colors in the movie, in the courtroom. I'm not bullshitting. They played Colors in the movie, in the court. I'm like, what kind of shit is this? And he was like, dude, the movie Colors was so off when it came to gangbanging. All they did was have some cats, some cops, and some gangbangers. And they tried to, they convinced the 12 white people that he killed this kid in retaliation from seeing Colors. He just saw Colors. It's true, he just come out the movie theater. And they swore to God, the DA convinced 12 white people and a judge that he shot and killed this kid in retaliation for watching the movie Colors.